Hello folks, Jonathan Milam here with a cornet review. This cornet is so cool. It is from 1937 or 38, right around there, the serial number would indicate. It is the director, but it is a professional model, very old. In the 60s and 70s, they called it a director, one of the student lines in the Conn lineup. This was in the good old days. You'll notice still a little bit of gold wash in the interior of the bell. Nice filigree along the bell. And a judicious mixture of satin and polished stainless, silver plate. You've got the polished here, and on the valve block you have the satin. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous little horn, and as fine a player as it is a looker. Now, the interesting thing about this, I guess you could call it a tuning bell apparatus, but you've got a main tuning option here. This slide will pull traditionally, at the end of the lead pipe like most horns, but you have coming out of the third valve or slide and going into the bell proper, you have what they called a, thumb and screw piece here, which I really like. If you've got a horn and you've let it slide just a little bit, haven't lubed everything up, and you're just trying to get a shade of difference in tuning, and you pull the slide out by hand and it jerks 1/4 of an inch, and then you try and move it back in a little and it goes 1/2 inch. But with this thumb screw, it is so nice. You just, in super small increments, can move, and that is essentially a tuning bell, because that's part of the bell apparatus. Just a very nice little horn in tremendous condition. Belongs to a friend of mine, local, by the name of Rick, and we look for horns every now and then, and he said here a while back he was in the mood to acquire something. So I saw this one at Trumpet Herald, one of my favorite spots on the web, and he had a wonderful experience in the purchase and was gracious enough to allow me the opportunity to ogle it for about a week and a half, and finally to try and do a video review. I don't play the cornet enough to do it justice. I'll preface my playing with that sad lamentation, but it certainly is the truth. Oh, one other thing I did want to show. Not only did this trumpet come in good condition, but the case is in great condition as well. He got the whole 9 yards, and then the Conn emblem there, the logo. And I did want to show as well, on the interior, he got the trifecta, not only a workable case, but a lovely little mouthpiece in very good condition here. And you got, what do we have? We've got a vintage Conn mute and the original lyre and tuning piece for the lead, cleaning piece for the lead pipe. Just a wonderful, wonderful acquisition. Rick, I'm jealous. You may never see it again, but I love you anyway. Okay, now as always for the weak part of my demonstration, it's the playing. What do you play on a 1937 or 38 vintage cornet? Well, for one thing, you do need a vintage mouthpiece. This is about 1/4 of an inch shorter than the standard mouthpieces that are used today. This is an old Conn, not like the nice new one that Rick got, but this is a old one from about the same period of time, a little more worn, and still works quite well. I play essentially the diameter of a Box 7C, and this Conn, I believe what I'm using is a 3. And then we'll try a vintage cornet. Both of them, of course, are short, about 1/4 of an inch shorter than the modern pieces, and they say the intonation and the result is just better when you can get a vintage mouthpiece that matches these vintage Conns. Okay, as I was going to say, what would you want to play on this? And I couldn't think of anything better than Wouldn't That Be Loverly, from an old musical that was a few years after that, I suppose. But at any rate, Okay. Now we'll try that same song, but with one of the favorite mouthpieces I've had for many years. In fact, might be the oldest mouthpiece that for me personally, that I still play on. It's a Curry VC, which stands for Vintage Cornet. Quite a deep throat. I believe it's somewhere between a 19 and a 22 drill, so quite a large size drill. It does give a breathy tone, but a really drawing tone to my way of thinking. Very compelling in its presentation. We'll try the same song. And as always, when I have a vintage horn, of course, this is about 24 years older than me, if you were wondering if anything got any older than me. But I just wonder how many hands have held this horn. How many people have played it? How many hours of practice has it gone through? Well, judging from the valves, these clickless crysteel valves that Conn was using back then are absolutely mind-boggling. Just the valves look very good. Compression is certainly acceptable, much better than you'd expect for a 36. But lovely, lovely horn. Rick, thanks for the opportunity. And I hope you've enjoyed this review. Any questions, comments? If you grew up with a director, the pro from the good old days, certainly let us know. And this particular model, I believe they said, ran from somewhere in the 20s until about 1940. And this being a 37, 38 model, it was towards the end of the run for this particular horn. Again, perhaps if you can see that, doesn't look real great on my camera here, but mechanism, but hopefully as you see it on a larger screen, it'll look a little nicer. Wonderful horn, 1937, 1938, director by Conn. Thanks as always for tuning in. We appreciate the thumbs up if you can. Comments, we love the comments. If you've got experience with these, certainly do contribute to our understanding and learning. Take care, have a great day.